What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast. Aggro and Barracuda, as per usual. I, Aggro, forgot to move my webcam over where I normally have it. It really hasn't been that long since our last episode, Barry, but something came to my attention at the Smite World Championship, okay? And that is, of course, that your mic isn't working, as per usual. And by your mic, I mean what I did in the setup. I'm going to start streaming myself testing the audio. So that everyone can see that I am not a complete idiot, and that it is conspiring against me. Okay, we're good. Bobby came up to me at the after party. We were both 100%.
Oh, no.
We were both 100% sober. Okay, we were so being responsible at this point. That isn't true. And Bobby told me that he had never been on the podcast. And I was like, dude, there's no way you have 100% been on the podcast. And I went through my DMs with him. I went through on Twitter and in Discord, and I couldn't find it. And I was like, maybe we just talked about it in person or something like that. I came home, and I looked at the overlays, because I save all the overlays for whenever we have a repeat guest. We didn't have one. I swear Bobby has been on this podcast. But I guess he hasn't.
Guys, I haven't been on. I think we did something else. I swear we did something else, but I don't think I've been on this one.
That is what I could have sworn, dude. It's like a Berenstain Bears situation. You know, it was in a different universe.
I'm outrageously confident that you've been on the podcast.
That's what I'm saying, Barry.
All I'm saying is there's literally no proof of it ever happening.
I know. There isn't.
I
YouTubed
it.
it.
Podcast. 100% you've been on the podcast.
Someone find it.
No
okay?
way.
Someone find it.
No way.
Because I swear he's been here. But either way, Bobby, welcome to your first, I guess, episode of the podcast.
Hey guys.
Even Chad is saying you've been here. You've 100% been here, bro.
Guys, you can't gaslight me into believing I've been here before.
How did you plan this, Bobby, is the thing that impresses me the most. How did you delete everything, all evidence of it, off of my computer, off of the internet entirely?
I am the internet. That's why.
Impressive.
Oh, he's evolved.
Impressive. Welcome, Bobby. We're happy to have you, especially to talk Year 10 patch notes. We are not... Chat, if I start going over all of the patch notes... slap me, okay? We're not doing it today. We're not. We're just going to do a little bit and continue to kind of talk throughout the next few weeks about the Year 10 patch notes because there's obviously so much. Also, our show is on a Monday today, or this week, because it's my birthday tomorrow, and I don't want to podcast tomorrow. Can I be
you just want to play Smite all day tomorrow.
I do want to play a lot of Smite tomorrow. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to play tomorrow, but... that's the way it is. Can you guys believe that it's been a full year? It's crazy. Year 10 is launching on my birthday, and it's a full year of me being on the design team. I joined. My first day of design was January 24th last year. Isn't that wild?
It seems wrong. It seems like way more than a year.
You're right. I've been in design for more than a year, and you've been on the podcast, Bobby. That's
no.
I tricked you. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. That is actually true. It's been a full year. It feels like a lot less than that to me. I feel like I just got here like 6 months ago.
I'm so confused. I could have sworn it was this year that you joined. I mean, like the middle of last year, like the middle of 2022.
I casted the qualifier tournament, the SPL play-ins last year, and then that was it.
Maybe that's it.
Shipped off.
That had to have been
design.
the episode that Bobby was on as well.
Right, it must have been. Yeah, it must have been right around then for sure.
There's no way, man. I'm gonna triggered by that the whole episode, bro.
What's more triggering, that I've been on design for a year, or that Bobby's never been on the podcast before? Because for me, it's definitely Bobby's never been on the podcast.
Yeah, it's
before.
Bobby for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
I
know.
So
try and find it, Barry. Man. I dare you. I would love to see it, because I'm convinced of it as well. Anyways,
I mean, I'm sure at least half of chat's looking. Sorry.
Surely Chat has got our backs here. Let's talk about the Year 10 map, shall we? Obviously, can't toss it up on screen or anything like that, but the map definitely a lot, for lack of a better term, thicker. It's like it's really wide, and very the jungle paths are very different. A lot more walls, a lot more like narrow entry points and that kind of stuff. Bear, I know you haven't played a whole lot on PTS, but Bobby, I was watching your streams and you were going off, I guess. What
I was going off. You can say it.
Right. He was going off. How has the new map in general, like, what have been the biggest differences playing on it that you've experienced so far?
Well, the first thing is you kind of get lost on the map now. Like you usually had like this feel of where you were going. You like knew where you were going without even looking at the map. And now it's like you kind of get lost. Like, especially around like green buff, trying to like find your way around green buff, you feel like you're going around the entire map, or like back to the speed buff. But I like that there's no like massive way for Mercury to just like ult through the map with like the entryways being more like slithering. But like the map feels a lot better. Like this season 9 map was good, and now this season 10 map is great. So
thank you for saying the season 9 map is good. I could see the restraint on your face.
Good.
That map is good. It's just we've been on it for too long.
It was fine. It was fine. Yeah,
we've been on it for too long. I think that's really all it is. Bera, just from when you're looking at the map, you're kind of coming in. I think that you not having played the map is actually going to be very valuable for a lot of our listeners and that kind of stuff, because I think a lot of people haven't played the map and they're going to download the update later this week and be like, holy crap, what is going on from just you've just been looking at it perspective. Like, what are the biggest things that you think that you're going to have to adjust to, or like the things that you're most excited about for it?
The first thing that I thought of was honestly like a revamped season 0 map. And that was without reading the patch notes. And I was very surprised at just how tight all the corridors are, which makes obviously a lot of wall characters go up in value. I think wall characters are already good on season 9, and then with how many like close-knit fights, I think like small AoE characters like Kukulkan, like all of those, like, and like block off pathways really easily are going to be so much better on this map. I'm not sure if they'll be more diveable than before, because season 9 was very like, there's a few pathways where you get grouped up on, especially the one like around Fire Giant, like trying to phase check that Fire Giant between like back camps and blue buff. I think that'll feel slightly different. Also, the new Fire Giant pit looks sick, or well, I don't know what you call it now.
Yeah,
the new like
it's
area.
A fire pit. Yeah.
And then duo lane, the lane itself looks so much shorter now. So I think maybe less safe gods will be better now.
Is it shorter?
It looks shorter.
It feels long. It feels a lot longer to me.
Yeah, to me it felt slightly longer. Especially,
Really?
walking back to lane obviously feels a little bit longer. But I swear, even like trying to walk from like your tower line to the enemy tower line, it feels a little bit longer.
It's because it's more curved. It's less straight.
Yeah.
Like, I think the distance between towers, as the crow flies, to use an old person term, is probably shorter. But in actuality, how you're moving, it's takes longer. But in especially in solo lane as well, like solo lane feels really long, I think. Mid lane, on the other hand, feels really short to me.
Which is good, I think.
Yeah, mid lane feels a
good.
lot safer than before. Between the lane feeling shorter and the entrances being different, I'm really interested to see what the mid meta is going to be, because I think there are a lot of different ways to take it. You can kind of take that safety as, I can just play like Zero's God Pool, like Chronos Baba, and just like hyper farm to late and not be in a whole lot of gank threat. Or I think that you can kind of be like, the jungler can't come, sick, I'm Pele set every game, and I'm just gonna kill the enemy mid laner off cooldown because my lane won't be influenced quite as much. So I'm interested to see what's gonna happen there. Barry, you said something about the fire pit, and I think that's one of the biggest changes in terms of how different a particular portion of the game feels, is that fighting in a circular pit has felt unbelievably different than Fire Giant fights in the past. Bobby, having played on it, how different do you think it feels playing in a circular pit versus the fire up against the wall?
It's just like more kind of stuff you have to like watch out for and like position differently. Also, the fire giant being in the middle kind of makes it so you can't drop projectiles on that area. So like, I know you can't Kraken right on the FG. I don't know if they're planning on changing that or whatever.
Yeah, we're looking into that. I think that'll get changed, is my understanding.
Yeah, well, that was like part of the reason that it made it feel a little bit weirder, but it just feels like a lot more open. Like there's more opportunity to steal. It feels like it's a little bit safer. Like it's 360 instead of just like a 180. Because most characters, like there was a threat behind like the FG wall, but it was like you couldn't actually see it unless you had a ward on it, and a lot of the time you didn't have a ward, so it's just risky to like walk up and guess kind of. But now you kind of have that wall just gone or like moved backwards, or fire giant moved up, and I think it just makes it now riskier to pull it, and that on top of it being a little bit more tanky, I think it'll take more time to do fire, and it also make it riskier to do fire because you'll spend more, like just more time on it and more places to steal from it.
Yeah, it's chaotic in there for sure. And then also a big change around that side of the map is that Pyromancer isn't inside the, right next to Fire Giant. It's near it, but there's a wall separating it and the fire pit. And it now drops the Runic Bomb. So this basically, you pick it up like a buff, but it goes into your consumable slot, like where potions and wards live, if you have an open slot. And you can place it to deal 1,000 true damage to minions and structures. Minions, by the way, I believe, includes bosses.
Yes, it
like
does.
Fire
I stole fire with that.
Really?
In a game. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
It's actually so much fun.
Yeah.
It is so great.
We were talking about it during
Interesting.
development, and, one thing, we hear all of the nostalgia trips that everyone has, and we were talking about, it was in relation to Hand of the Gods being removed in general, but about how a lot of support players who have been playing since Season 0, Season 1, really miss the hog meta. I know that's before your time, Bobby, but, for anyone who was newer, Hand of the Gods used to be a relic that would deal percent HP damage to bosses, jungle bosses. Basically, it was the support's job to secure Fire Giant. But it was not very healthy. It forced supports to pick up one of these relics that was pretty narrow, but if they got it and you didn't, you just couldn't contest the fire because it was so easy to do. And we talked about, can we make this Runic Bomb kind of feel a little bit like Old Hog as a consumable, but also have this PvE application, which is that it also deals 1,000 true damage to structures and debuffs their attack speed for 10 seconds. So it kind of enables you to push, or it enables you to secure an objective or steal it. It also does deal 300 physical damage to gods and applies knockback, but it has a little bit of a delay before it goes off. So it's hard to use to secure fire and that kind of stuff. But when you're Bobby good, come on, that's just...
It was easy. Just another day.
That's just easy for him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, what are
I
your...
didn't know you could steal fire giants with that. I thought it was just like you just take it to a lane and then just drop it.
You can, or you can bring it to fire or Gold Fury or a buff. And again, there's a little bit of a timer on it, but you can secure it that way.
Yeah, you could definitely make teams freak out around the fire giant pit if you're a support walking in with that bomb. I mean, I think chat was saying it takes like 1.5 to 2 seconds to go off, so
yeah.
I mean, I still think you could play for a burst, but I think that there's always going to be that question mark of like, if we get it too low, is that scary, So I mean, it sounds spicy. I like it.
It is definitely spicy. And a little bit different, which has been very fun. Another new thing, we're going to be I've only got like 2 more things I want to talk about on the actual map. Of course, there are a million changes to the map that I encourage everyone to go read the update notes if you've got like 6 hours. But tower bastions. Now all the tier 1 towers have some little guys that kind of sit up front, little shields. These take damage from abilities and basic attacks. But while alive, they provide the tower with 15% damage mitigation each, so 30% when they're both alive. You can kill these in order to make the enemy tower weaker and give 50 gold to allies in the area and some XP, I believe. Or no, it looks like it is just gold. Of course, we experimented with like a million things. But 50 gold, and those that can get split, and it's local, not global. Bera, how much do you think bastions are going to impact the way you play the lane now that you don't have to necessarily go into the jungle to gain your reward? You can kind of do it by pushing the tower.
How long did it say that they were lasting for, or do
They
just
last until
you kill them?
they're gone. Yep. And they have 1200 HP, 65 physical protections, and 55 magical protections.
It's probably just gonna be one thing that you get if you're there, but not something you're like overly playing for, especially if the jungler's on your side of the map. I think it'll probably just be like something nice that you can get as far as duo goes. I'm not sure about the rest of the lanes.
Sure. Bobby, how has it felt playing around the bastions?
It's just riskier in duo lane, kind of like what he touched on. Like if the jungler is nowhere to be found, you can't really play up on the tower line. But it feels good if you're playing like a kind of a snowball-esque duo and you kind of know where the jungler is. What I like to do is I like to just drop out kind of and let my ADC just solo it and get like an extra free. I think it's actually 75 also on PTS right now, so it's an extra 150.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 150 gold to my ADC just, and we got it by like 5 minutes a few times. So it's just something that you can kind of play for if you know where the jungler is, but you can pretty easily get baited into like trying to go for it and then killed for it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that makes sense. You know, it's a core tenet of Smite is that laners go into the jungle and clear camps, and we didn't want that to change, but we also understand that players like to push their advantage in lane, and it isn't always fun to feel like the right thing to do is to instantly leave your lane after clearing the wave.
Yeah.
And I think this is a fun way to reward and give choice to players after they've cleared the wave. You know, do I want to go clear camps? Do I want to stay in lane and push the bastion?
And they don't respawn, right?
Correct. They do not respawn.
Okay. Maybe it'd be cool, like in a later update, if you could do it like every like 5 minutes or 6 minutes they spawn again, or something like that, if the tower's still up.
Yeah.
And just kind of like make it a little bit more laning focus. But
we definitely experimented with them respawning at times.
Yeah, it would have to be very like specific, or like the early game gods like Izanami would just run the game.
Yes. Yeah, that was happening for sure. Okay, then the last big map thing that I want to talk about is the unleashed jungle camps. So now camps don't have to stay within their little circle. You can pull them together, clear them. You can only pull camps on your side of the map. Neutral camps like oracles and enemy buffs you cannot unleash. I believe there is a bug where you could on PTS with some enemy camps, but that is not intended and will be fixed. What are your how has this felt to you, Bobby, with the unleashed jungle camps?
It feels really weird at first. I don't know how much I like it permanently leashing, being able to pull it into like lane and to like the enemy side of the camp, or pull. Obviously, you know where green buff is. Pulling green literally all the way to purple buff. It makes it feel just a bit strange, and it forces supports mostly to just take a ton of damage. And unless you're playing like a hyper clear god, it kind of just it doesn't feel great. But I do like that the camp range is extended a little bit. It just feels, obviously it's for a bit more of a casual thing. It feels super forgiving. Like you can hit it once and then just not hit it again until your ADC's with you. So it makes it feel like a bit easy to do, but I don't know. I like it that it's different than the other ones where you actually had to just sit in the little pit and not really move anywhere. So yeah, I'm kind of indifferent towards it right now. Probably with more game time, I can feel it out a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, this is... we've been playtesting this map since, if I had to guess, I'd say like August or September. It's been a long time. We've been playing with Unleashed Jungle Camps for basically all of that time, if I remember correctly. And I still feel like I have never once cleared my jungle optimally with this change. You know, like it just adds such a layer of optimization to clearing.
That's very true.
That is, you know, I've been playing on it for months and I feel like I'm not even close to getting it perfect, which is fun. It can't be too much different, you know, it can't be too much or else it's too unfriendly to the majority of players in an already difficult to play role casually. But not only do I not feel like I've ever cleared it perfectly at the beginning, I have no idea what the correct start is because the camps still spawn before minions. We've tried a ton of different permeations. I will tell you now that grouping all of the buffs together at level 1, not a great idea. Not great. You take a ton of damage and no one hits level 2 right away, and it takes too long and it's terrible. So you can do it. It's fun. It was really funny. We were laughing a lot, but it wasn't good. But yeah, it's been crazy. Barra, what are you feeling about the Unleashed camps?
Very confused. Because I was watching Zap, and it does sound funny when you say it together. I just got very confused for like. It felt so non-Smite like, I guess. For like years and years, we've had leash ranges.
Yep.
And every time he was like stepping too far, I'm like, wait, what are you doing? And then it would just keep following him, and then sometimes he would just do the same thing that I was talking about. Like, he would just stay in, like, the idea that we have in the circle for, like, the actual leash range, and then he would be like, oh, I should just, like, take this to wave with me, like, and just do it optimally.
Yep.
And so I think it's going to be a long time before my brain treats it like an actual thing. Like, I feel like it'll be months and months before I remember to actually, like, leash it properly, like you were talking about. And
yeah,
I did see, like, I've been watching a bit of PTS. I haven't played like any PTS. But yeah, even watching people group up the buffs seemed kind of not optimal. It just seemed weird because sometimes like the supporter ADC would walk in the lane with half HP, and I'm like, that cannot be good. Like, there's no way you're gonna chalk your lane to like clear slightly faster. Like, there's no way it's that much better.
I think the coolest thing about it is some characters like Ishtar, Cern can do that group, and they actually do it really well.
Yeah.
But if you're playing something like Danzabura or Anhur or something like that, and you try to do it, those minions, they are relentless, and you will go into lane under half. So
yeah, we literally were like, at one point I brought up like, should we increase how much HP like health potions give you? Because
just
you
for
just
the
like
first
need
2
them.
minutes.
You just like need them, right? And ultimately it was like, no, people will just learn to not take so much damage. But yeah, normally like on season 9, I will oftentimes, if I have 150 gold for potions, I will like only spend 100 of that and just save 50 gold because I know I don't need a third pot. I'm maxing out my pots on season 10, like basically every time. It's been really wild, but a lot of fun. I'm interested to see what types of starts people do, and it is really fun to like. I remember the first time I was like, oh, I should just bring my purple into lane and like clear it with my ability that's gonna clear the wave, and I felt so smart and so cool. And then I did it a second time, and Lermy stole my buff because she was just in lane next to me. And she just got the last hit on it. I was like, oh, great. I'm never doing that ever again. Unless I know they aren't there. That feels so bad. I also remember the first time playing support for a while, in our internal playtests, it was literally just like, you just Uber driver the buffs around. Like, I would just run to solo lane, bring blue buff into lane, let him kill it. Bring my mid laner red. Bring my ADC purple, like meet my jungler halfway with their speed. I was having so much fun, and then I had a game where I was doing that, and my laners got their buff stolen a couple times, once or twice. And they told me not to do that anymore. That they didn't want me to get their buff stolen. Like, it was my fault. They could have just secured it. You know what I mean? That was on them as far as I was concerned. But
yeah, I agree.
It was very fun.
On them.
It was very fun, for sure.
When you play support, nothing's your fault, so...
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Bobby, finally someone gets it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know about all that with all the tank items you guys got this patch, though. You know, that's how it is now.
Hey, why are we already nerfing some of them? Why is Prophetic already getting nerfed?
Do I have to explain it?
I would love to talk about this item because I think that item was a solid item before everybody started complaining about it, because they're playing Arena on the Conquest map where like everybody is fighting 5v5 in mid lane ARAM.
Yep.
Of course it's gonna get stacked, man.
Yep.
That item is like, that item was average and now it's not very good, and I don't think you'll see it like at a competitive level. You will not see it.
I think it is absolutely been overrated by the community.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were gonna say or OP.
It is really, really good when you get it fully stacked,
Yes.
just like Height of the Urchin was, and Height of the Urchin never got bought. Now, this is much better
Well,
on the way up than Urchin,
it is healthier. It is healthier too.
right? Like, it's a lot better than Urchin was on the way up. But here's my personal philosophy on this, and I'm only speaking for myself, not for the entire design team, anything like that. I think that 325 prots, the protection cap, does not do enough against characters that build well, right? If you are against a chin size dominance hunter, 325 fizz prots don't do enough in Smite.
Correct.
So, I will tell you that I dove into the protection formula a little bit and experimented with making some changes there. And I was more scared than I've ever been in my entire life about anything. Because do you know how absolutely ruined the game would get if I was wrong about how it would impact? Like, if I messed with that number and I made prots just a little bit too good in the early game, or just too bad as they scale, you know what I mean? Like, it's so risky to mess with that. And I'm not saying we won't, but with so much change happening, it felt too risky at the time. But we did want to make characters that are able, that commit the whole build to tanking, to tank better than they were. So when I see that Ducky clip of him, Osiris tethering 5 people with Oni Hunter's garb and Prophetic cloak and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that was maybe a little much, right? But
That's the god, nerf Osiris.
But I mean, he didn't do any damage to anyone in that fight, right? He didn't. Every ability he threw did 100 damage. Like, is it that bad? As long as they aren't killing you, as long as they aren't threatening you with their damage, is it that bad for them to be really tanky through mitigations?
Who would have thought
Maybe
aggro
it is.
joining,
Maybe it
aggro
is.
joining the balance team would make
Okay.
him just understand the tank perspective. Zeus needs to do a little less damage. Tanks need to be tankier. Love that.
Yeah, I don't know about
This
I don't know
item
about-
has to be OP, and I'm pretty sure you guys are trolling if you think this item is.
Barra, it is really slow to stack. It is slow. I think,
I feel like the emoji can just stack this in like 3 minutes.
no.
No. It has an
Really?
internal cooldown too.
It has an ICD.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
Yes, you can only get a stack every 10 seconds. You have to be on top. You have to be able to hit someone every 10 seconds. And you have to be able to hit the right target, because it's all about, the damage type they're dealing. If you hit a physical god, you gain a physical stack. If you hit a magical god, you gain a magical stack. You need 15 of each. You can't get 5 physicals and 25 magicals. You need 15 of each.
Yeah, that's fair. I misread it then. Yeah,
And it
that
is slow.
definitely
Now,
seems difficult. Yeah.
you can stack, like, the fastest I've seen it stacked with any sort of consistency, like, if you're playing the right type of god, because not all guardians, like, do this really well, right? If you're playing, like, Horus, like, you need to just use your one to, like, hit someone. That's not super reliable. It's a long cooldown. It's a valuable cooldown, all that kind of stuff. Like, it is not easy. But if you're, like, really focused on it and really good, and you get it first, like, you could probably get it stacked by, like, 12-ish minutes into the game. 15, like 14, 15. Bobby, I've inted for stacks but many times, man.
Dude, you can't even buy the item until like 6 minutes into the game.
Do I have to teach you how to farm and support, Bobby? Come on, bro. You're not...
Farming's not a problem. It's about hitting the enemies, playing forward, poking. That's the stuff I struggle
No,
with.
I know. We have definitely stacked it pre-15. It's not reliable to do that, though. In competitive, like, I just think, yes, it is difficult. It is really good once you get it there. But I imagine if a support tried to go Prophetic into Thebes in competitive, and the other support went, like, Sov into Heartward or Sov into Stone of Binding or something like that, you would get absolutely jammed. Like, you would be so much less tanky than the other support. and your payoff is a long ways away, which I think is like interesting. You know, it provides a different way to play the game. But I do think that people are underselling the cost of a system like this. Now, again, it might be still overtuned. We'll have to wait and see.
Wait, how much farm is our supports getting in the new season? Is it like better than season 9 or?
I think it's less than season 9.
It's worse, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Oh.
It's not that drastic. It's really not. It's just slightly less.
Then yeah, this item will definitely feel worse because supports in season 9 were like 2 items and you're upgrading your relics and that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this you have to play selfish to get it early because it's like really important to get early. And then you can kind of just like roam around the map. And Prophetic Cloak and Tablet of Destinies are my 2 favorite items of the new season. Because I love this new stacking mechanic of gain stacks by hitting enemy gods. It's really unique. It's engaging gameplay. It's fun, I think. Not everyone will feel that way. It's harder, for sure, than clearing minions, but I'm a big fan of those items, and I have inted for stacks on both of those items so many times, like in playtests, just absolutely sprinting it to get 1 tablet stack, and I'm happy for it every time. Every
Yeah,
time.
Unlike
I feel like I
Janus,
would do
right?
that.
No, I'm not buying tablet on Giannis. That's like the worst god I could possibly. I literally wouldn't have even thought that Giannis was like. I wouldn't have even thought to tell anyone don't build tablet on Giannis.
You might have had to before the game.
Before the
then.
show match. I know. I felt bad. Right? Poor Wraithen tried.
Maybe Prophetic on Janus though. Like
Yeah,
maybe he's on the
sure.
wrong stacking item.
Yeah, why not? Here's the worst part about it on Giannis and on kind of like every mage is that if you've had tablet for a while and I press tab and you're at like 4 stacks, I know you haven't hit anyone. You know? I know
That's
you
true.
haven't been doing any damage because you would just have more stacks. So I hope people don't get too toxic about that. I'm a little worried about it, to be honest. But
I didn't even think about that, but now I
Yeah, I
can't
didn't
be
either.
toxic about it.
well, I was casting the show match, and it's like, Wraithen he's like 3 items. He's had
Oh,
tablets as
no.
the first one, and he's got 4 tablet stacks. And I was like,
That's tough.
I know he
That
hasn't
is
hit
tough.
anyone, bro.
That's
Like,
tough.
I know he hasn't hit anyone. Because it's not like you're gaining a lot of stacks at once. You know, you can only gain one every 2 seconds, so you're not it's not like he hit a huge 2 or something like that and didn't get paid. I don't know. It's a little troll. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about shards, shall we? This is a new system that's kind of like items, but previously everyone's just been getting vision shards for free at the beginning of every match. Now you have a couple of different shards to choose from, one of which is vision shard. The others are all small, short duration. Well, they are short duration, pretty powerful buffs that you get. That's kind of like popping a power potion that lasts for 3 seconds and is on a 2-minute cooldown. So there's Horn Shard that reduces your non-ultimate ability cooldowns by 0.5 seconds every second for the next 3 seconds. So you get 1.5 seconds off your cooldowns. Claw Shard gives you power and lifesteal for the next 3 seconds. Wing Shard gives you movement speed and attack speed, and it's a lot of attack speed. It's 40% attack speed for the next 3 seconds. And Carapace Shard makes your next basic within 3 seconds steal 20 physical and magical protections from the next enemy god hit. So you gain the prots, they lose them for 3 seconds. And the buff debuff lasts for 3 seconds. Bobby, how has the shard system felt in practicality?
I mean, it just adds like a layer of depth that wasn't there before. I think seeing kind of what you can do with some of these shards on, essentially mostly just early game really, because you get it level 12, you're going to be upgrading to an actual relic. But pre-12, it just adds this like new depth of a way for you to just outplay somebody or to win a fight maybe that you wouldn't have won before. So it just adds this depth that makes the game feel more engaging in the early game when it was mostly just, oh, I'm level 2, nothing I can really do here if I'm getting ganked. Well, I'm level 2 now. I've got I don't remember how much the horn gives. Like
1.5 seconds off over
Yeah.
3 seconds.
So it gives me like cooldowns back up in like if I'm playing something like Horus and I just dashed in, I live a little bit, and then I use that to get him back up. Like it allows for this depth of outplay, especially for people that are unaware of it. That is really cool, and that also that Carapace shard for support at least I think feels very 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 good.
Good. I was going to ask about that because that's the one that I saw on the Reddit thread everyone thought was the most OP. And I also thought it would be the most OP. In practice, it has felt good, but not as strong as I thought it would early. Like, I on supports, a lot of times I default to Carapace Shard, and then sometimes, like, I was playing Sylvanas today, and I was like, actually, I feel like Horn Shard might just be better here for me.
That's what I'm going a lot, is Horn Shard. I think Horn Shard feels the best. But I also think Vision Shard might also just be filthy. I think it's
really
still
good.
The best shard, especially at like the top level.
Yep.
When 3 seconds for a lot of those things is, I mean, it's good. Like, don't get me wrong, 3 seconds is really good. But especially with how you have to play dual lane right now. Obviously, Barra hasn't played it a lot, but you're kind of stuck playing up a lot. And if you don't have a vision shard, you just get kind of ganked and ganked and ganked.
Yeah,
ganked,
I have noticed that Vision Shard, like, I have noticed how much less safe I feel without Vision Shard. I used it all the time, but I do think that it adds lethality to the map. That there's less vision early. It allows for different pathings and different jungle routes that can result in kills that would normally all get warded. Now, people haven't backed for their first reset yet, haven't bought wards. Like, you're kind of free to do what you want, which I do think is pretty fun. Barra, what are your first impressions here of the shards?
I feel like people will use them for a month or two, and then on the top level, they'll probably just go back to vision shards. Because I feel like having the idea of the gank coming and being able to play around it is better than feeling overly strong in your 2v2 or in your fight, taking the fight and then getting ganked because you're playing overconfident because of your shards, or just because of the situation itself. And I feel like in an ideal world, you're going vision. Wait, can you change it?
No.
As the game goes on,
well,
you have to select it right when you leave.
You could not buy one. It's like a relic. Like you buy it and then you have it until in this case with shards, the intent is still that you upgrade them to a relic at level 12. You can keep it if you want, but you can't switch shards now.
Okay, I was wondering if you could like go early game vision shard and then between like level 6 and 12 change it out once you back for your first item, you get wards coming out of base.
Yep.
But if you can't do that, then I feel like people are probably just going to go vision shards. Especially, I think there was a few times I was watching Zap and he was saying that there's nothing for a jungler to do between like such and such time, so dueling is just going to get ganked at this time.
Yeah.
And I feel like having to mentally play around that without a ward is pretty, like, you don't want to just back him and give up pressure instantly just because you know that the jungler can be on your side of the map. So I think
just
people
tell your
play around with
support to spend 50 gold, bro. That's all they got to do. It's easy.
Yeah.
50 G's, that's it. Bobby? Come on.
I don't think a lot of supports are going to want to
There goes my mental.
that.
Well, actually, I just need my 250 health.
You're not buying Hog anymore, right? So,
yep, no Hog.
That gold's gotta go somewhere.
I know.
Multi-pots.
That's two actual wards you could buy. But, Bobby, don't think of it as you have to spend 50 gold. Think of it as, by spending 50 gold, I get to have a shard that isn't Vision Shard, you know?
That is actually a good point.
And you get to deny them 400 gold.
Well, Bobby's not denying that first blood gold all the time. You know? Like, it's
what the heck?
He's getting in there.
That's just two right now. That's
what do you mean?
Like that, aggro.
No. You aren't denying it because you're taking it. You're getting the first blood.
Yeah. No, that's a good save. Good save.
Okay. That's where you were going with that.
Of course I was going with that. Bobby's whipping the freehand Sylvanas pull. They're beating late, and then he's rooting them, and they're dead.
That is the story of my life right there.
There it is. You're welcome. I know.
Also,
I know what's up.
I feel like the Carapace shard would be pretty good on ADC too.
I have heard on her Carapace Shard is a good combo because you just stack up your passive and you Carapace Shard them and you're like true damaging them for 3 seconds.
That's what I'm thinking. It's
Seems
gotta be
fun.
like, it's gotta be at least okay. Or if you like, wait, do they stack and you double Carapace Shard someone?
No, they will only lose 20 prots,
Okay.
but both people will gain 20 prots.
Okay.
It's not actually a direct
Might not be
steal.
that OP then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking you just like completely take away someone's prots and then kill them at like level 2 or 3.
The
You
most
can't do that. Unlucky.
the most fun. Here are some fun combinations for everyone to try whenever the patch goes live. Horn Shard Hebo goes crazy. You just get to double cast your one like really quickly. That feels really good. Horn Shard Hebo is really fun. Mercury Wing Shard goes nuts because you get a movement speed and attack speed. That feels really fun. And I was going to mention the On Her Carapace Shard. Those are 3. I do think Claw Shard is actually the best of them.
Yeah, Claw Shard Soul probably goes pretty hammy.
You will lifesteal a lot in those moments for sure. Also, Claw Shard is really good because you can pop it to clear. You can group up a bunch of camps and then Claw Shard to clear them.
True.
And you
yeah.
heal up a lot of the damage you took and you clear faster. I would highly recommend Claw Sharding on your grouped up clear if you're trying to go for like a greedier one. Also, don't blink on me in mid and Claw Shard as an assassin and insta-kill me. I'll be upset. But you can do that. Blink Sharding is just like really strong. Like Claw Shard and Wing Shard, if the mid laner doesn't respect it, like you get free kills with either one of those most of the time. So there's your tip. If you're a jungler, queue up ranked tomorrow and slam
I feel like
the mid laner. Just level 2, blink on them, pop your shard, kill them.
I feel like those aren't the tips we should be giving as backliners on this podcast.
Well,
Thoughts?
we're trying to give our listeners elo, Barry. You know, that's
yeah,
what
but
it's about.
they're gonna take it from us, the backliners, by
They wouldn't do
killing
that to
us.
me on my birthday. No way.
Yeah, I think they will.
Also, here's the thing, Barra. They can blink on me if they want. I'm gonna claw shard Zeus. I'm gonna chain lightning them and their stupid other little mid laner, and I'm gonna detonate them for their full health bar. And I'm healed.
So, okay, you're setting it up. Okay.
I'm
never mind, you
I'm
continue.
2 steps
This is
ahead.
all the
Here.
bait. This is the bait.
Yeah, right.
Come on, man. You gotta
Not
give
a
me
bad
some.
idea.
Thank you. That's
You're welcome.
you know that's just something I'm bringing here. Speaking of ranked, by the way, full crossplay in ranked now. It's a hard reset. Now console players will be in with the PC players. I, for one, am really excited, and I'm happy that the community reception of this has been overwhelmingly positive. I've seen very few negative reactions to this. And a few years ago, I do not think that would have been the overall reaction. I think it's a good sign the community has grown a little bit in their understanding of how things work, and also that it is just... We could have made this move years ago, and it would have been better. It's better for ranked, because here's a really easy way to think about it, chat. The more players in the queue, the better the matchmaking is. It does not matter where they are on the spectrum. The games get better when there are more players. And so by combining all these queues, it puts a huge influx into the queue, and you will get better games. Maybe not right at first, because hard resets are wild. They are wacky. We haven't done one in a while. It is a free-for-all.
Oh, no.
I am
so
nervous
fun.
about it. But once the dust settles in a few months, because it does literally take that long for hard resets to work out, if even that amount of time, it will be significantly better for matchmaking. I look forward to being clipped and put on Reddit 6 months from now when someone has a bad ranked game at 3 a.m. In a party saying aggro said matchmaking would be better and this game sucks. I look forward to that thing. But yeah, Bobby, are you? I saw you looked pumped about the Box Boys and the PlayStation friends joining the queues, and of course the Nintendo Switch players.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Why would I not be to be able to play with the original stick players?
The mobile gamers.
I can actually queue with my I can actually queue with my like brother now. My brother who plays console for the past like 4 years or something like that.
Where
Maybe.
do you think your brother's going to listen to this podcast, Bobby? Before I ask you this question.
Oh no.
Okay, cool. Where do you think he's going to end up in his rank? You know.
I'm pretty sure he was a diamond player on console. So
Okay.
if he played diamond console, I would say
Masters
mid-tier
PC.
plat.
Oh,
Grandmasters.
Yeah,
Grandmasters.
just Grandmasters instantly. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what it's going to do to like the average ranks of all players. People definitely have this thought that all console players are bad, and that is just objectively not true. I will say, having a good amount of experience on both platforms, and Bobby can attest to this, the game is just harder on controller. It is just outright more difficult. So, I do expect console players to have their average rank drop a little bit, especially initially. But it's not going to be by as much as people think. I don't think that diamond Xbox players are going to become low gold players now. And I think that they will improve quickly. I expect if you are a console player that was diamond on Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, and you play all season 10 or all year 10, I think you will experience some drop off towards the beginning of the year, and I think you will almost certainly reach your old rank, if not surpass it, and be a significantly better player at the end of the year. Is my guess of how it's going to go. Barra, what are your thoughts on the queues all merging up?
my take might be a hot take. I think they're going to be right where they were on Xbox.
I think that's very
or
possible.
Console. I
Yeah.
think a lot of PC players aren't as good as they think they are. And I think box boys are going to probably take over, or at least the stick boys are going to take over whatever you're playing on.
The joysticks.
And yeah, and yeah, I think the difference isn't as big from playing against like a lot of good console players. I think a lot of them will be in Masters pretty easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
Might be a hot take, but that's I mean, from scrimming against like Bobby's team like way back in the day when they were like the OG like controller
Astral
players,
Authority.
yeah, I think they were actually like pretty good. So yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun.
The,
Bobby, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, just like one more thing. The only thing that was really different when you switch from console to PC is the way the PC players juke.
Yes.
Because you juke just a completely different way.
Yes.
And I think that is like part of like where the kind of like this skill differential is going to come into is console players. They go like this kind of like watch this.
Oh boy, this is good podcast content. Yep,
Yeah.
it's good. Okay, so
He turned around his chair. He turned
know
around
that.
again.
it was like a
Okay.
circle. He
Players,
turned in
they
a
juke,
circle
like,
and
side to
like
side a
moved
lot
in a
more.
circle a little bit. You know, like you kind of.
Are you having to talk about it?
Well, yeah, because it's a podcast, so I have to explain it to the
They
listeners
like,
only.
They like spin as they twist.
Yes.
The PC players like juke like side to side.
Yes, it is very. It's like a Beyblade, you know, like
Yeah,
you gotta-
kind of.
Ballerina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like spinning. You spin the left stick in the opposite direction of the right stick, and you just like try and confuse them with your weird movement.
Exactly.
But it's all very smooth because that's how controllers
100%.
work. There's no jittering to it, which is usually how you juke things on PC. Is that you move unpredictably. Console movement is by its nature more predictable, which will be difficult for sure. Bear, how do you think PC players juke? Could you actually stand up and show us how PC players juke? Because Bobby did it for console players, you know.
Yeah.
I think Bobby covered both. Actually,
Really? I feel like
remember
only
him.
saw him
I
do
don't remember.
one.
I don't remember.
I
I
remember how
remember-
PC players juke.
I also
really.
don't remember if I was on the podcast too, so
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he
Might
was on
just
the
show me.
podcast if you juke
yeah,
like a
maybe
PC
I
player
was.
jukes, you know? Like it's possible.
Yeah. See, I'm not wearing pants, so I can't really stand up.
Okay, the truth comes out, and I respect it. So that's the way it's got to go. Okay, before we
I
get
didn't know
into
this was a pants-required podcast.
let me be clear, it is not. It is actually a pants discouraged podcast.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But I thought maybe you would switch it up for once.
Nope.
That's just how it's gonna go. Before we move on, I do have to tell you guys that I've got an exciting factor read for you here, and I'm not even gonna try and do like a clever intro or anything like that because I'm too old now But there's some exciting news at the end of this read, so buckle up, okay? This new year, you've got goals, and Factor is here to help you achieve each and every one of them. Save time and have the energy you need to tackle everything on your to-do list with Factor's ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Get Factor and not only skip the trip to the grocery store, but skip the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. Bear, did we talk to someone recently who got Factor? I feel like I did talk to someone, but I can't remember if it was on the podcast or not. I definitely talked to someone in real life that was like, yeah, I got the Factor meals, and they were, like, really good. And
There was a
like,
guy
oh, no.
in chat that said that.
No,
During
maybe it was
one of our
at
podcasts.
Worlds. I think it was at Worlds.
Oh, well, I was not there.
I talked to someone.
You weren't at Worlds?
Yeah, not in this conversation specifically.
Oh, okay,
Well, he wasn't after he started getting sick.
Don't say
you know
it.
what I mean? That's just... Well, I wasn't going to say that.
Oh,
Come on,
okay.
Bobby. I'm not...
Yeah, not the L word.
I don't know.
No, not the
Yeah.
L word. We don't say that word around here.
Also, my sickness at Worlds, for all those out there, was self-inflicted.
Well, yeah.
It was self-inflicted.
After your self-inflicted illness, you weren't or at Worlds.
you.
You left the
I was
Worlds realm, so to speak.
Bro, I was purging everything in my body for so long.
All right.
Sorry, back to business. Back to Factor.
Yeah, this is a really good time to talk about that during our food ad read. Good call, Barra. Well, Barra could
Don't
have.
mix alcohol.
Okay, I'm not gonna go there. Factor has the meals to help you live to the fullest. With
So good you want to taste them twice.
okay, man, you will not. Okay, you might want to taste them twice, but not the way that they did in the SpongeBob episode. You know what I mean? I think about that all the time. That episode where SpongeBob and Poseidon are having a cook-off. And Poseidon eats SpongeBob's Krabby Patty. He's like, this is so good. I think I'm going to try it a second time. And, like, spits it out and eats it again. The whole crowd's like, ah! Like, I think of a random SpongeBob scene once a day, every day for the rest of my life.
It fits for, like, you can think of anything with SpongeBob, and it fits.
Literally everything. You're
Perfect.
right, Papa. I said Poseidon. It's Neptune. I apologize. Anyways.
Oh.
Factor has all the meals to help you live to the fullest with keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and protein plus meals on the menu each week, prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians. Each meal has all of the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. So, head to, and this is where it gets exciting, head to factormeals.com/backliner60. That link has changed. So again, it is factormeals.com. No more go.factor75, whatever. It's nice and easy now. factormeals.com/backliner60 and use code backliner60 to get 60% off your first box. That's code backliner60 at factormeals.com/backliner60 to get 60% off your first box. Big shout out to Factor for being our sponsor for this episode. Again, a great way to support the podcast is by interacting with our sponsors. Factor is the place to do it. Okay, we don't have a ton of time left because I'm trying to not have every podcast go. Siri, relax, dude. Siri is so
like,
hungry.
don't die.
Siri's like, I need that so bad, but you can't eat Eurowatch. I don't want. Why did you laugh at that, Barra? That didn't deserve a laugh at all.
I was gonna give it to him, but then
You did. I didn't deserve it. I didn't want the laugh. Barra didn't even just laugh. Barra didn't even just laugh. He collapsed. It wasn't good podcast content. But
okay, you gotta keep going. Sorry. I'm derailing.
I got you. We're not going to go over all the items. We talked a little bit about Prophetic and Tablet, but I want to just touch on the hybrid items because I think this is one of the biggest things. A ton of items got removed. A ton of items got added. A ton of items got changed. 43 tier 3 items in total, I believe, got changes in this patch, which is a huge portion of the item store. But I think hybrid items are the most interesting overall group to go over. Hybrid items now will no longer... starter items are an exception because starter items have to break rules or else they can't be viable easily. Hybrid items will no longer have power and protections on them. There is not a single item that is not a starter in the game that has power and protections on its base stats. Instead, there will be more aggressive hybrid items that have power and health or protections and health, but with aggressive passives, like Gladiator Shield, or it will just be pure defense items only. I did see, it is by design. In my opinion, again, not reflecting that of the entire design team, 9.5, if you remember correctly, that patch last year, where warriors did no damage to anybody anymore, and it was just universally the worst class in the game. Everyone was talking about how bad they felt. They didn't feel fun. They didn't feel good. That patch made me believe that in order for warriors to be a successful and fun class, they need to have some amount of threat on the backline. They have to deal some amount of actual damage, even until the late game. They shouldn't one-shot you through relics in particular. That's the big thing. Like, if Deathwalker's on top of me, and he's full tank, and I don't use my relics well, he's going to kill me. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. But my ideal world is that as a squishy, if I use my relics well, I should be able to live through a solo laner's entire kit with enough that I can fight still. That I'm not just like out of the fight instantly. Who knows if we're ever going to hit, that's a hard mark to hit, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. That being said, I've just seen like already a little bit on Twitter about how item passive, like tank passives, they build all these tank items, then the passives deal all the damage. That is by design that these passives have to add damage to the kits, or else they won't get played. If that amount of damage is the right amount of damage is up for debate, of course. But I want to get off. I take all opportunities I get to get on my soapbox. But I think that is important to establish because I don't think that having Glad Shield as a passive or Stone of Binding as a passive is contradictory to the messaging that we're delivering here, that hybrid items have been too strong and they needed some changes. Barra, what are your thoughts before we get into specifics on some of these hybrid items on this overall change and how you think it impacts the game?
I think it's a really healthy change because I feel like the knobs are easier to turn, and I feel like before, hybrid items are either built every game or never, and I think this way is a more easy way to fine-tune them to where they should be. Because, I mean, what you talked about last year, like, warriors were by far the worst class in the game. They were literally unplayable. Like, there's no reason to play them over guardians with, like, the conduit gym. Like, you could clear just as easily and then have pressure, and it should make sense. And I feel like this way, it makes it a more offense item guaranteed or a more defense oriented item guaranteed. And I think the passives are also a really good idea. Some of them are obviously a little scary scrolling through.
Oh yeah,
but
some of them are busted right now, for sure.
And playing them, it's scary.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I think it should be that way because I feel like if you guys released a lot of dog water items, people would be like, "What are they doing? Like, Hires is so stupid."
Yep.
So I think you guys are definitely over-tuning things on release is definitely better than having a bunch of bad items released. So I agree with everything.
Yeah, Surtur. Yeah, we haven't touched on him a whole lot, but I think Surtur's pretty good.
He's okay. He's okay.
He's pretty good. Yep. Yeah, I think that god is pretty good. And I think some of these items are maybe even better than pretty good. But it just becomes such an uphill battle, like Barra said, if they're bad on release. It becomes so hard to convince people to buy them. Because they just have this... First impressions are important, as we all know. And if your first impression is bad, it takes a lot to change people's minds.
And also, I think we talked about it a while back on the podcast. People are just going to build what they're used to building if the new items aren't as approachable and OP. And you really have to like break that mold to break into their minds to build new items and new ideas. So,
yep,
good idea.
Exactly. If we're giving items a Madden rating, like an overall rating, if you have a 90 overall item that you've been building for 5 years and we release a 90 overall item, you will never buy it because you're going to buy the 90 overall item that you're used to.
Yep.
Now,
exactly.
It isn't about, we don't want to power creep the game, all that kind of stuff. It's important to like keep all of that in mind, but it needs to compete with those things. And we will be, of course, doing our best to balance. But, it's only our best. Bobby, in practice with some of these items, or if there are any particular tank items that you want to talk about, or hybrid items rather that you want to talk about, how has it felt in game?
Well, I gotta remember what the hybrid items are. Like, I haven't played a lot of solo lane, so I haven't built like any berserkers. I'm not building much glad shield. I don't really build the hammers really.
Sure.
But like Stone of Binding, the change to that item makes it feel effective at all point in the game. Obviously it's not a level 1 item. It doesn't really build well as like a first item. But beyond that, it actually is just a healthier item, and I think a lot of the other items are just healthier from their changes. Like Stone of Binding now scales into the late game, and it's just as good early game. However, it's a little bit more expensive. Arch Druids, which is you take more damage, your next auto will do, I think it's true damage based on the amount of damage you took.
Yeah.
That one's probably the one item that probably sticks in most people's head as, well, maybe this one is a little busted.
Yeah.
But I also think it's like, I think a lot of these items are just solid items, or like they're good items, but you kind of get hit by like a big number one time, and it just sticks in your head like,
yes,
this item is just OP.
Yes.
But in reality, man, these perfect circumstances lined up where you got sundered and you got like your prot shredded by somebody else, and then you got autoed and like they had an axe too, and you took 1k damage, and like that's why it felt so strong. In reality, I don't think any of these items are really that busted, other than I think Arch Druids is still a little too strong.
Sure.
But for the most part, a lot of them came out pretty balanced. I think the hammer tree maybe is another thing that's a little underwhelming.
Sure.
But it was like the stats on these items had to be changed. How they worked had to be changed. So, yeah, overall, I'm completely happy with the hybrid changes, and they all feel in practice good to build and not that strong from the opposite side.
Yeah, I think another thing about Arch Druids is that people like backliners don't know to like Aegis that right now, and like you'll learn, because you have to. But once you do, that item does like nothing.
It is a statted average item,
right.
And it's just a passive.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you'll kind of learn those things. Overall, I think that I know the chat has been spamming Frontliners podcast, which is fair because we've been talking a lot about frontline stuff this patch. But Bobby's here, for the first time for sure. So
let's go.
We got to talk about some frontline stuff.
Definitely the first time.
Obviously, Frontliners did get the bulk of the itemization changes because this was a pretty targeted series of changes to their itemization. But for me, I have had the most fun in year 10 playing like solo lane and support, because I just feel like I have so many options for what I can do. Losing these items, losing power, like Yorm with Glad Shield and Artio with Glad Shield is like so crazy to think about. And I assume we will see a lot of those types of things, like Xing Chen with Glad Shield, just these tank just opens up so many opportunities. And the stones, I think, like, you look at Horus with Stone of Binding now and that kind of stuff, like that goes hard. You can do a lot of really cool, new, fun builds that are fun for you. Maybe not always fun for the backliners, which I do feel bad about for my friends, but it is a ton of new options that make the game feel really, really fresh, especially for frontline, but even for backline, like playing around these items, and there are tons of item change. 43. It isn't just for frontliners. There's a ton of new backline items that feel really impactful.
Wait, I can buy berserkers again?
You can.
I mean, you can.
It has no power.
Oh,
We're cooking
now.
Don't,
we're
bro.
cooking now.
Dara, it's bad for you, bro. It's 2,400 gold. 2,400 gold, 60 physical protection, 150 health, 25% attack speed, and 20 HP 5. And when you're below 50% health, you become Berserk for 5 seconds. While Berserk, you gain 10% damage mitigation and 20% attack speed. It can only happen once every 15 seconds. You're not buying this, are you?
I'm buying it just because I can now.
Oh my god, I don't want you.
You've unleashed me.
I don't want you to. Are you excited to play Toxic Blade all the time? Toxic Blade,
yeah.
Now, all the anti-heal items gained additional passives because we heard the feedback that people thought they were too boring to build. So now they have real passives. Ichaival was removed, and Ichaival passive of stealing attack speed by hitting them is now on Toxic Blade as well. I feel like Toxic has felt really good in a lot of spots.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a little costly, but I think it'll be okay in like boxing situations.
More, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, do I want to replace Xe for that? Probably not. Do I want to replace Oboe for that? Probably not. Do I want to replace Kinsize for that? Probably not. Do I want to replace Dom for that? Probably not. So it's like...
It has no power, which is kind of like...
Yes, it does have no power.
About it.
So it feels... Oh, if it has no power, I'm probably never buying it then.
It does have 10 flat pen. And Aussie no longer has any flat pen.
I'm just thinking about decreased attack speed from 30 to 15%, decreased pen from 15 to 10. This is not really helping me on objectives unless we're like leashing it to
Listen, can I say
re-aggro it.
Can I say, when you guys see something like this on patch notes, right, where it's like cut attack speed in half, pen goes down, cost goes up, gets a very, very objectively strong passive, right? But it does seem like a lot of nerfs. You can tell that in playtesting, it got real spooky for a little bit.
Yeah.
Freya with 2,200 gold, 30% attack speed, 15 flat pen, Ichaival passive Toxic Blade was looking into the depths of hell. Like it, the abyss stared back at me. You know,
that's like the OG Freya build that was like 2,200 to like 2,400 gold for all of her items, and you came online at like 22 minutes.
Yeah,
that was fun build. That was like years and years ago.
Really good. And then you guys know how it is. Like as soon as one character abuses an item, you're like, oh wait, I should abuse this on everybody. And so then it was just like this constant like. Everyone was kind of getting Toxic Blade like second, and you just couldn't outbox them, and like 30% attack speed is just so much. So, if it sees no play, we have a lot of knobs to turn. We have a lot of ways to make it better. But I will tell you, this thing scared me a lot.
Yeah. Also, I can't tell if healers are going to get better with the cost increases on the anti-heal items, or if you're still going to just feel required to buy them into healing comps, and then that makes healers even better because now people are having to spend like 350 more gold on anti-heal items. So
sure,
we'll see.
Certainly possible. I do think that like Divine got a lot stronger. I think Brawlers got the least amount.
Yeah, Brawlers is not look great with the passive.
Yeah, Brawlers is something that I can confirm we are looking at. Pestilence, Contagion, obviously very good. It seems also a very cool passive that I was excited we got in. But overall, yeah, it's just been a lot of fun, and I'm really just we've been working on year 10 for something like this just takes so long, and it's crazy that it releases tomorrow. Like it just feels like it's like when you think about school ending in like the fall. And then it's like school's finally ending, and you're like, "Holy crap! I can't believe it! It's here." You know what I mean? It's just like so much excitement and so much anticipation. I'm so stoked for everyone to get their hands on it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Before we go, I did want to ask you, Barry, about Cyclopean Ring. This is the new mage ADC item.
Good. Did not know where that was going.
Yep, it is the new mage ADC item. There was also a shift. I don't know if you saw this on patch notes, but so Ring of Hecate is removed. Telkine's Ring is now it got an early game shift. It lost damage. It went down in cost, went down in stats. And Cyclopean is now the better late game ring. It's 80 magical power, 25% attack speed, 10% CDR. And your next basic attack against an enemy god deals bonus magic damage equal to 8% of the target's max HP. Can only occur once every 10 seconds, but that is reduced by 2 seconds for each successful basic attack on an enemy god.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to bring in some soul auto attack builds. People kind of know me as notoriously hating soul auto attack builds. I feel like I hit for 70 plus Telkines.
Yep.
And I feel like this actually makes me want to build attack speed on her and actually utilize it. Obviously, I think this item is going to be very good on gods like Freya. Potentially Chronos, probably not Chronos, depending on how your team fight's going and how you think your team fight's gonna go. And then also this item has to go crazy on Olo Run for sure.
Goes
Has
wicked
to go
on
crazy.
Zhong too.
On
Okay.
Zhong?
Yeah, he
Okay,
procs it
okay.
twice.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that true?
No, yeah, it goes actually no, like the cooldown on it. He can do
Oh,
true
yeah.
damage every third auto.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
8% true damage.
I thought you were saying
yeah.
he was doing 16% and I had a panic attack.
I think I spoke wrong. Yeah, I think I spoke wrong.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Bobby! I was like, did I mess
Maybe,
this
maybe
up?
toss that in there
Oh
in there
my
also.
God.
Why
No,
not?
that's fine. It's intended for him to reduce it by that much. Can I give you guys the real strat here? Tank Alquang solo with
Oh, I'm already tired of it.
Cyclopean 6th item.
Oh,
You're full
stop
tank.
it.
You go like Shoguns, and then you build Animosity, which is now coming out of Warrior's Axe, and Cyclopean. And it is so bad for 5 items. This build is terrible. You do nothing for 5 items. But once you get to 6, though, you're like the best character in the game. And it's so fun.
You know how many casual games you just ruined people?
It's so
having
fun.
useless solo laners.
Bro, I will tell you, you
25
are going to
minutes.
hate your life for 25 minutes. But once you get to minute 26, baby, it's gas. You know, it's really fun. Big recommend. Don't if you want to win.
Don't build that in our games, please.
But casual games for sure. I would definitely recommend that. What was I gonna say? Oh, I can say this. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but oh well. We're at the end of the podcast. I'm doing it. I can tell you that when we were in the like design process for new items, I was playing a game where I was playing Soul, and they had a Cthulhu, and I was like, "What's the point of me existing in this game? I can't play. Like I can't hurt this guy. You know, I don't have chins, and I can't build Soul Reaver. How do I ever kill Cthulhu in a million years when he's ulting?"
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna make a freaking magical ADC chins. You know, like that's what I need it. Or else I can't play the game into these characters. And that's how Cyclopean Ring was kind of sort of born, because it was definitely not exactly this whenever I initially pitched it. But I think that's the way it needed to be.
I always assumed Telkines was going to get shifted from magical power to percent HP. I was surprised that hasn't been changed yet.
Yeah,
But now with this, it doesn't need to be.
This is more interesting, right?
Yeah, I
like this one.
Spicy. Yeah.
I love this. I love that we were able to get in this tech for reducing the ICD on successful basic attack. I think that's really cool tech that we could definitely reuse on other items in the future.
Yeah, it'd be cool if the CDR was lifesteal, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah, well, it was also in the same sort of vein. It was like, I can't really build CDR on any of my magical ADCs. And it's not the stat I want, but it wouldn't be bad.
I think they added lifesteal into Telkines too now.
Yes,
Oh, they
Telkines
did?
gained lifesteal, yeah. Because I'm just pulling off the whole hood here. When we removed Hecate, we kept Telkines the same, we added Cyclopean Ring, and I went to play test, and I was like, all right, here we go, ring 1, and I backed to base, and I was like, what do I buy? Like, none of these rings are any good for me in lane at all. Like, I lost my only good lane ring, and I've got two rings in Telkines and Cyclopean that are like in the same spot in my build. So what am I doing here? And I actually just built into Bancrofts after that, and then went back and finished my ring later. But I'm really happy with the pivot that we came up with. I think that this is more, you know, Hecate was good, but not super exciting and a little confusing because it had gone through so many different ideations. And I think that Telkines is a very clear understanding, and it also makes sense for it to be early game, right? Like, your basics deal more damage because you need the help to deal more damage in the early game. So now Telkines is meant to be your lane ring, and Cyclopean is that late game ring that you're picking up.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, there you go.
I like it.
Before we get to our random question of the week, which I'm just realizing I might have forgotten to ask people for in our community Discord, oh nice, we got one from Timmy. Timmy's the goat. With ranked coming out tomorrow, and this is big. Let me tell you this, as someone who it is so hard for me to really, really try to, like, if I see a 5-man ult in ranked, I'm taking it even if I'm gonna die for it and I know it. You know, like, I can't play that disciplined anymore. It's just not in my brain. you gotta try in these in the hard reset games. These games are important for you to win. What are you guys going to be playing in your first ranked games that you think are the easy? What are you abusing at the beginning of the season to climb ranked early? Bobby, any thoughts? What's your god pool and role and item? You don't have to give me the full item build, but like, is there anything in particular you're like,
Yes.
yeah, I'm abusing this?
Yes, and there's an item that you changed, and it's Hercules with just like thieves into the new renewal
Breastplate of regrowth.
Regrowth. Yep. Yeah. That is 100% what I'm doing. I did it one game already, and losing the health feels not great, but giving protections when you combo with thieves makes you feel just a lot better. So first game, 100% that. Beyond that, more Herc. I don't know.
Hercules, okay, gunning it down. Always a fan of that. Barry, any thoughts on what you're going to be ripping at the beginning of the season?
Really smart guy I talk to occasionally. I told him about this tank Alquang build.
It slaps. It slaps.
I think I will be building that in every role. For me, I'll be playing Soul most likely and jamming my Dint because if you're in these games where you don't really know how good your teammates are going to be, you should be doing whatever you can do to hyper carry through yourself and yourself alone.
Yep.
And so Soul is really good at that. I think Scotty's really good at that. Anything that can just carry by itself. And
bro, why did I ask this guy? He goes, "I'm gonna play Soul Scotty. It's year 10,
also,
bro. It's a different season. Play something else."
You just buffed Soul and Scotty.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, that Shablanc change is pretty spicy, so I'll be testing that as well.
It is. I'm excited about that change. No one talks about it really, but I think it's sick. I think it feels really good. For those outside of the know, Xbalanque now gains attack speed while his ultimate is active. Simple, clean, easy.
Yeah, pretty good. And I could be lame and go like Ishtar and Cerninoshino if you really want those answers. Like, I think the Ishtar, Cern, Rama, and Izanami are probably really good just because they can clear the camps, and probably no one knows what they're going to be doing camp-wise tomorrow, so I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be grouping up the buffs. So any ADC that has AoE clear or can clear really easily will be good. Also, I think you guys should be buying or keeping the Vision Shards, and probably testing out the other shards in normals and doing Vision Shards for ranked. I saw in chat earlier, it was like third wave, you're going to get ganked by the jungler every game, so you can either forfeit your lane pressure at the third wave or just ward it and then play around it.
Barra, you are in literal 1,500 MMR games. You think anyone is warded with Vision Shard?
The Stick Boys are coming out tomorrow. And
they're in your lane, bro.
Yeah, they're going to come in swarms. They see Barracuda or Zatman, brother. They are cooking. They are coming.
You're right. I gotta play my Smurf tomorrow, bro. That's not
foaming at the mouth to kill us. They will be ready.
You're right. I gotta play my Smurf tomorrow. That's gonna be brutal, but that's okay. We'll get it done. What am I playing? It's not Tank Alquang, even though I want to.
Just say it.
I do think I know people are down on tablet.
Wait, did you say Zeus?
I know people are down on tablet. I will say I think tablet Zeus is really good.
There it is.
Because it automatically you get stacks by accident, bro, and it's more damage than you think if you can stack it. So I'm gonna dabble a little bit.
Yeah, you can play Zeus in 1,500 MMR rank games. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kill everyone
in no time.
I'm gonna kill everyone. Are you kidding me, bro? I am the 1-for-5 king. Okay, it's zap for 4, aggro for 5. That's what it's about. Okay. Well, I'm just playing Zeus. It's not really fair. No, I think that I would be playing pressure in general. It's always good, particularly in ranked. I think I will definitely be playing. If my jungler is, if we have like a Guardian solo, which I expect we will have a good amount of. All the warriors are very strong right now, so it's hard to say for sure. But if I have like an RDO solo and a Guardian in duo, I'm very likely to pick like set mid. I think that with the lane the way it is right now, I have a lot of isolated 1v1s that I didn't have before. So Pele and set mid and just making sure you know where the jungler is. And then as soon as you see the jungler and the enemy support, just absolutely all-inning. I do think is very strong. Mid camps are not as important or valuable as they used to be. And I do think that, like we said at the very beginning of the show, AoE denial mages have felt really strong. So I'm probably interested in like a Kukulkan, Book of Thoth, and Polynomicon style stuff. I don't think that gods like Scylla are quite fast enough, but gods that I can control choke points with have felt really good. And also, I'm sorry I got to do it to him here.
Oh, no.
I played some Ra in some playtests.
Oh.
And he has felt really good on this map because you can Lassus combo people really easily as they're coming around corners. Like they
What does
just
that
have.
mean?
You don't know the Lassus combo, Bobby?
No, should I?
Yes, this is the most iconic Ra combo. This isn't like the Barra combo, okay, where it's like how the kit is meant to be played. The Lassus combo on Ra is when you one and then you ult at the timing so that they hit at the same time. Like it hits like 65 units from you. And if you do it over a wall, you can basically have all of the damage hit within a couple frames of one another, and you will one-tap people. It's the most satisfying thing to do in the entire... I'll show you some clips after this, Bobby. I'll pull them up. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I'm lost. I don't even know.
Let's just say
Never even
Learn
heard
Me
of
got
it.
one-tapped twice within 5 minutes. You know, like that's just... I was cooking that day. I think Ra is going to feel pretty good. But I'm just a Ra lover. I think Ra is like the perfect type of god to play in ranked because it's hard to punish you. They aren't going to anti-heal you that well. And you do way more damage than everyone expects, and you power farm well. So, Ra, Kukulkan, Little Zeus, Little Zhong, Little Tank Alquan, you know? That's how it goes.
Did you say Zong?
Yeah, he snuck that
Yeah.
in there.
Zhong is good, bro.
He really doesn't want to win tomorrow.
Yeah, he really doesn't. He wants to die. He
We
wants to
gotta
get
make
sundered
sure-
and insta-give.
That's the type
Yeah.
of... How do you guys not understand that this is the type of player I am at this point? That I like to get in there, and I'm fine with dying. My KDA... I'm not a KDA player. Like, I'm just there to do my job. And if I'm Zhong and Zeus, my job is to die and do a lot of damage. I love that. Oh, Hades mid. Really good.
Bro,
I love Hades mid. I'm playing
Hades
Hades
is good
mid
in
for
every
sure.
role.
Yep.
I've been saying Hades mid's been OP ever since Claw got introduced, and people just don't play it. It's crazy.
It's true. Hades
Takes
mid
too
has
much
been good.
skill in mid.
I've told the
Right.
story on the podcast, and I know we're at the 90-minute. I did it again, bro. I'm literally the worst. But I love this story too much. I can't help myself. Back when I first joined, when El Leon picked me up on box, they just come off winning MLG New Orleans, and Clow was their mid. But they decided to make a change anyways, because, you know,
Yeah,
I'll let
I
them
wonder.
tell it. Yeah, I'll let them tell that story. And Clow played Hades mid a ton. And I joined the team, and I did not play any Hades mid. I just wanted to play Giannis every game. And they were like, hey, you've got to learn Hades. We think it's really good. And I was like, okay, cool. I spammed Hades mid in ranked for 2 weeks straight. Played like basically nothing else. And that's impossible for me to do. And I got really good on Hades mid. I felt really confident on it. I picked it in a scrim. I popped. We lost. Andy said, I think Hades mid is bad. We're never playing it. I never played it a single time after that. And I'm still tilted about it to this day.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
That I spent that much time, and it wasn't even my fault. Never mind. It's fine. But all that being said, Hades mid I think is still one of my best picks. So I'm jamming some Hades mid tomorrow for sure. That's the way to be. Oh, I'm so excited to play ranked tomorrow, bro. It's gonna be so much fun. Okay, we're gonna grab our random questions of the week, of course, from our community Discord, which you can join by heading over to our Patreon, patreon.com/backliners, the best way to support us directly. And you get to be a part of a dope community who posts cute pictures and all that kind of stuff. Timmy asked, best home-cooked meal. Maybe it's just good, or maybe it's nostalgic. I'll start with this one because I've got one right off the rip. It's homemade tacos with like the crappy taco seasoning packets. Just like the hard shell, soft shell combo pack that comes with like the little taco packets. These days we use ground turkey instead of ground beef because it tastes more or less the same and it's way healthier for you. I love those types of crappy homemade tacos. My dad used to make them all the time. We make them a lot. I love that meal. I love it. Homemade tacos with the crappy seasoning. I love them. Bobby, you got one for me?
Yeah. Beef stroganoff.
Ooh,
My mom always made it, and obviously I haven't eaten it in like 5 years, or like maybe like once or twice here or there. But
sure.
Every time my mom made that, like for special occasions, I would just 7 bowls deep, going back for number 8. Like it was so good.
That's a good hearty Midwestern meal.
It's so good.
Right
it's
there.
So good.
That's what Minnesotans eat. Is beef
It is.
stroganoff. I love that. That's such a funny answer. But it's beef stroganoff is really good. I believe that
so good.
It's banging. Barry, how about for you?
Mine is lasagna. Probably one of the best vegan meals I've ever had. Just it's like a full like thing of lasagna, and it's just delicious. Like it covers all the bases of flavor. It fills me up every time. I also feel like I can eat up like an infinite amount of it as well. Like I hit a point where I'm full, and then I'm like I want to keep eating and keep eating and keep eating.
Those are the
And
best.
I would say that, or we have like a mock chipotle that we make, which is absolutely banging. And yeah, either one of those.
Barry, I feel like you've talked about this vegan lasagna like 5 times on the podcast.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
It's so good. It's spicy, it's savory, it's cheesy.
Could you like
Is that
post the
spicy?
recipe in our Patreon Discord? Like, do you have
Sure.
it online?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you want the world's greatest vegan lasagna recipe, patreon.com/back.
Absolutely banging.
Okay. Bong Water 69, our good friend, said you have to speed draft a ranked Smite squad to play against one another. It could be ranked all-stars like Adder or Apper, I suppose. Or it could be pros who don't int every ranked game. Let the chat decide who wins the game.
That's hard.
That's a lot of people that we have to draft, though. You know, and we're already at 90 minutes. But we could speed draft maybe. Who do I want? Okay. Well, if it's against other pros, it's very different, right? If I like, how about, I'm going to adjust your question a little bit here, Bongwater, I apologize. But just for speed, and I think this is a lesson that I was taught in broadcasting school. Shortening your question will lead to really good answers a lot of the time. Who is one player, if you had to pick one player who is going to win their first ranked game on the patch, no matter what, let's assume everyone's solo queuing, no duo queue. If you had to pick one player who is guaranteed to win their first game on Year 10's patch, who would it be? Bobby?
Well, the first thing that came to mind was it's got to be a jungler because that role
Yes,
is just
busted.
absolutely busted. Like
Yep.
if you're not picking a jungler, you're kind of trolling.
Yep.
And who wins the most and queues the most in jungle? I don't really know any junglers that queue consistently, but I know when Panatom hits the queues,
It's over.
he's got a 99% chance of winning. So I'm taking
Because he's
Panatom.
not trolling, you know?
No, he's trying.
He's picking Erlong and
The
he's
same 4
jamming
dogs.
it down your speed buff, like every game. I think Panatom's a great choice. Barry?
Yeah, I'm going Apper.
Apper is a really good choice, for sure.
He puts pro junglers in the dirt. As long as he gets
A Willix. Yep. As long as he
Apper on
gets
a Willix, that's my asterisk.
Yeah, that's fair. Chat saying auto speed. Auto speed on set, good choice. He is very likely to win that game. I'm going with a little bit of a cheating answer. I'm going Lermy Wormy. She's been playing on the map for months and is a jungle main and is just she is incapable of trolling. I try and get her to troll all the time. And she can't make the wrong play intentionally. It hurts her. I don't understand because it's like my favorite thing to do is make the wrong play intentionally. I would bet good money that Lermy wins her first rank game tomorrow. She just has the experience, you know. And that's
He knows the ins and outs.
she knows the ins and outs, and she's goated. So I'm
I
going.
have
Lermy.
faith in all of our answers.
Yeah,
I
think
like all of Muddy.
There is
well.
no
We did
way.
well.
Yeah.
There is no way that
Progress.
any of those answers are losing tomorrow. So
Yeah,
they're
no
welcome. Also me, because I'm going to be playing Tank Ao Guang and reaching 6 items. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Bobby, thanks for coming on for the second, third, fourth time, whatever it is, because you've been on so much. It was a pleasure. We'll have you back sooner.
It was a great first time.
Yeah, then
No way.
yeah, I still don't believe it, but
no
we have
way.
to accept it, Barry. There's no other choice. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. We'll be back next week on Tuesday to talk about our first impressions of the map and how everybody's rank game goes. I will ask Lermy if she wins her first rank game, so you'll be able to know next week, which should be fun. Big shout out to Factor, of course, factormeals.com/backliner60 to get 60% off your first box. And then if you want to support us directly, patreon.com/backliners is the place to go for that. And you can join our Discord and get the world's greatest vegan lasagna recipe. So that's big time. Bobby, thanks again for coming on. Follow Bobby at Inbound on Twitter, and you'll be streaming ranked, I assume tomorrow, Bobby.
Yep.
So hop into his stream. Twitch.tv/inbound is the place to go for that. All right, cool. We'll catch you guys next time. Until then, Barra, you know what to do.
Bye.
Clean.
Oh,
Final
so
one of
good.
season 9. Clean.
Right?
Not
I won my
bad.
last assault game. Perfect bye. It's going to be a good night.
Well, it's not
I was the first of
perfect.
season 8 and then the last of season 9.
Wait.
I'm just